Welcome to the 30-minute Minecraft challenge is what I'm going to call this. I'm going to see what I can do in 30 minutes, and you guys are going to stick around for the ride. What we got. Hope you guys are doing well today. You know, I did one of these before. You guys liked my bit of rambling and whatnot. This is what I've been building so far. Having some interesting progress with it. I'm not entirely sure if I'm liking what I've done here so far. There's that used to say Cinder back there, but I have taken down the R because it was in my way. Where do we want to go with that? Well, first off, I am trying to build a mountainside lodge is what I'm calling this right now. I don't want a stone axe. I need an iron axe. There we go. Because I got to turn all of these logs into stripped because of what I want it to look like. And it looks like I got to get right up there. We'll jump over there and we'll go this way. See where we get to here. Oh, I can't. Well, I do got to put more of these down anyway. And I don't think it's going to matter for this side. Although we are quite out of it. So, strip all this. This is obviously the front entrance that I'm looking at here. We got a nice viewpoint here. We're in the middle of the Rift Dragon server, and you can see we've got a nice view. We got the backside here, which isn't much right now, but if you go over here you can kind of see we got a backside here, more mountains and stuff like that. So this area really reminded me of a lodge, of a mountain park lodge or something like that, where maybe there's a ski hill close by. Yeah, so we're gonna extend this out pretty far. This is going to be like a multi-level split. We've got the front entrance that I'm working on right here. I may have to move my cows, or I just bury them under the ground and figure out a different way to feed them. I do have ideas on that. But then I can come in here and have this as the straightforward. I wonder if I should move that up one or just keep the low ceiling, because this is kind of an entryway anyway. So if I do it up from here, then it would probably be fine. So that's like the main entryway. That's what we're going with. A little bit of what looks like eaves trough there. And then I'm building. There's a lot of this is going to turn into wood. So I do got to do a lot of farming for wood, which I'm probably going to do off camera. Because today we're just here to talk. And talk we will. How is everyone doing out there in the world? My name is Cindershadow. This is the little channel I got. You know, we do some Minecraft stuff here. I do talk about some pop culture stuff. Some stuff going on in the news. Some other things all around. And it's quite... You know what, if you like this type of content, this is the channel for you. I'm also a Magic the Gathering enthusiast. I watch a lot of Hermitcraft, which if you guys know what that is a dedicated Minecraft server with a lot of people on it, and they do a lot of things. This particular server is one of the main administrators is playing Discord. If you guys do know who that is, he's in my Discord. He's also has his own YouTube channel, very similar to me, where he does pack openings and some Minecraft builds and all this other stuff. So he does do very similar stuff as I am doing here. So do go check him out as well. He lets me play on his server, and yeah, that's where we are here. Anyway, just a little bit of talk of what's going on here. First things first, I am a Canadian. No matter what happens in American politics, it doesn't matter to me. It's not something I have a caseload of and everything else. But there is something that's going on in the news that is everywhere right now. And it's really, honestly, without putting my thoughts out there, with all of this. It's something that is very difficult to even discuss normally. And with the way things are here out on YouTube, if you guys like this type of content, I gotta say right now, please like and subscribe and share it out. But the biggest news that of the day right now is probably what's going on in Kenosha with the trial that's going down there. I'm not gonna name names, because if you know who it is, you know who it is. You know what's going on. You don't need a recap on names, and names tend to hit the YouTube algorithm and do things very, very judgmentally for that algorithm, and people just go off on stuff. But for myself, I don't know anything when it comes to pew pews and all this other stuff. I've never held one. I've never even gone around them or anything like that. The closest thing I know about them is just people in the streets and what they do. It's I don't know anything. Up here in Canada, I'm pretty secluded to that stuff ultimately, and what I know and what I would like to know is not anywhere that I actually know. Ooh, there's emeralds in that spot. Oh, anyway, what's going on? I got some more emeralds there. I kind of want to save those until I have once I get a fortune pick. But for now, this is the challenge mine. Maybe we'll do a little bit of digging here, and then I can just ramble on. You guys can relax and enjoy my soothing voice. Right? That's right. The soothing voice of Cindershadow. But yeah, what's going on down in the States? I forgot to grab torches. You can't go mining without torches. That's like rule number 1. Yeah, what's going on down in the States is one guy with a pew pew went out onto the streets during some not so kind stuff going on out there. There was arson, there was rioting, there was protests, and it was a situation that was a very bad situation for this young person that was out on the streets. Probably shouldn't have been there ultimately, but was well within his rights as a human being to make improper choices and things that are going on with the caseload and stuff like that. But ultimately, he's out there. It looks like he's doing good for the community, cleaning up some graffiti, cleaning up other things, and he just happens to get caught up in the rioting and in the disgruntledness of the nature of it all. You know, we've got he ends up in a situation that people just don't like him being in, and a lot of people were out there in that situation doing things that they probably shouldn't have been doing. This is stuff that you see, but you don't see at the same time. Like I said, I'm Canadian. We don't really see these type of thing unless you're in like Montreal or Toronto. Out here where I am, we've only got like 4 million. Hell, we've only got 1 million people in the city I live in, and that's in Edmonton, Alberta. It's 2 million with the surroundings communities that are here. So we don't have nearly as many people as that. And we're spread out. Like our area is completely spread out in compared to some of the places down there in the States. And when these riots happen, they tend to be over a small few block radius when it comes to the city. And it gets cordoned off and all these things, and people get scared for their businesses. I've seen nothing but people lose their businesses over the last couple of years, and it's absolutely devastating what is going on there. And to see all of that, by the way, there's a secret here. Now that we found this, I'm going to show you a little secret while we're talking about this stuff. Let's get a torch up on the wall there. Okay, I need to know which way is north. North is that way. So the other thing you need to do is you turn on borders. My border's way out that way, so we don't need to deal with it. But we've got lapis here. So we dig in here. We dig 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? There's our 4th block. Well, we've actually our 5th block. right? So let's dig straight down, and we're going to dig also straight up. Just to cover our bases. We're at level 12, so I don't really have to go up. You don't see anything there. We'll take out these 4 as well, and we'll do these as well. Now we're gonna dig down here, and I just want to dig down so I don't fall in case it opens up into something. But in most cases, it's not going to because we're so close to bedrock already. Dig down there. Dig this out. What are we going to find here? Hopefully we don't get trolled, but we should find something. Oh, there they are. So, ideally, if you dig down 4 blocks from Lapis to the north, you'll find these shiny little rocks. It's absolutely unbelievable that works almost every time. Unfortunately, we're down right at bedrock, so they didn't have the chance to spawn everywhere there. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's the nature of Lapis. You find Lapis, you have found diamonds. You just got to know how to find them. Anyway, back to the story of what's going on down in the States, down in that town. You know, people are riding, and this boy, and you know, at the time he's only 17. He does a couple things that are very questionable. Ultimately, he's going to work, and he happens to be going to work without having a driver's license. That was something that came out of the trial. It's going on the interwebs right now, and there is so much information that came out of this stuff. Now, not having a driver's license, I you know, a small thing here. Buddy of mine that I grew up with, he had a vehicle that was uninsured and not registered and all this other stuff. We used to take it out. You'd take it for a ride, if you know, and if there was some girls that he wanted to go meet, we'd hop in the truck and we'd go. We didn't care that things were doing wrong, and that was back when we were 15, 16 years old. You know, you did what you did to go see and to hook up with your girlfriend and just to have a good old time, and that's stuff you did as a kid. So by a kid not having a driver's license, that's not unheard of at that age. It's now he's doing things like going to work, which, you know, going to work is responsible, making an earning and all this other stuff. That's fine. But ultimately, when it came down to it, it was just, you know, he's going to work without a license. And I think if he's working without a license, I think he's earning enough money that he could have gone out there and got the license. I don't know what it is. I you know, where I am now, you now can get your learners at, I believe you can still get it at 14, but you have to have your learners for 2 years. And that could have been what the case is here, right? You would still technically not have a license and only have a learner's permit doing the waiting time for it. And if that's the case, then you have to have someone else in the vehicle to drive for you. But that never got brought up. But what was brought up was the fact that the kid didn't have a license. And you know, not having a teenage thing like a license and still going around and driving, that's nothing to condemn someone for at all. What turned out happening is, you know, and I don't care. It's not really my place. And unfortunately, from everything I see with the media and how the states are, I watch and I see people running around with the pew-pews all the time on what I see on YouTube, what I see on, and what I hear on mainstream media, even though I've stopped listening to a lot of it over the last few years, just because of how much is there. You know, I can tolerate the local news, but when it comes to anything bigger, I don't tune into a lot. I try and get a lot of information out there and then try and collaborate it and follow up on the stories that I find interest in particular. But in this case, I have never seen in my life, even in like you watch Judge Judy, you know everything's theater. I've never seen a court case fall apart so quickly in my life, or hear about it so quickly as this particular one that's going on right now. Honestly, the whole court case looks like political theater. It looks like it's being put on, the show is being put on for everyone in the world to see, and everyone is sitting there thinking that whatever happened on those streets that night, he was in his right to do what he did. He was being chased down by a mob of people. And, you know, if you're being chased by a mob and the mob gets you, and then they all beat you down and they beat you up, and you're in that situation where you're all alone, you have no one to back you up, you've got to do what you got to do to survive. And I think that's all that I've seen here is a kid being in a bad situation, not realizing the level of responsibility that was needed behind all of this. And you know what? This is going to come up probably during the trial's going to continue. This is going to be released probably during the trial. So there'll be new information. There'll be stuff that I may get wrong here. There'll be stuff that I don't understand. I'm not a legal expert. I don't know what's going on. I've been watching this trial from a Canadian standpoint, and it's absolutely, to me, it absolutely looks like a sham, but I don't know how the courts work and how all these laws work. And to me, a lot of it looks convoluted, and a lot of it really looks like it's goes up and above where they go and where they do things, and just the level playing field that's there just doesn't seem to be there for this kid. It seems that everything is stacked against him. Even on that night, everything seemed to be stacked against him. It just seemed that, yes, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. And this may have been a case of it. You know, other things that came out was the kid was he was like in these police groups and firefighter groups, to the point where one even gave him a vest. And you know what? If he's going on that career path, you want to nurture that. And I think that's a little bit of what's happened here is the police maybe nurtured a little too hard and then started relying on people a little too hard. But at the same time, their hands were tied. They weren't allowed to be able to go out there and do their jobs properly. They're underfunded, and the training is just not there. And this was all to do with someone that doing very bad things in the first place. We got someone pulling a knife on the police, and the police ending up having to shoot them, and that was the end of them. And unfortunately, that's law enforcement. They have to live with that every day, that they go out there as law enforcement, and they have to make that choice. They don't really have much of a choice if they're trying to uphold the law. And unfortunately, the law was put into the hands of this 17-year-old that night. And was that right? No. There shouldn't have been a situation in the world where a 17-year-old has to go out on the streets in the middle of a downtown area to sit there and put out fires, to sit there and stand guard at a parking lot to make sure nothing gets torched, to sit there with a fire extinguisher for hours on end and putting out these fires in the first place, and then sit there and have to then go through this gigantic traumatic experience. And what's going to be the outcome of this? This trial is everywhere there. The kid is already being treated like an adult. And from everything I've seen, from everything that was brought up with the prosecution, all they did was confirm that this kid was a kid having to make adult choices in the heat of the moment. And that heat of the moment, he had to do some very horrible things, and having to actually pull that trigger on his pew pew. Why was he put in that situation? Why isn't the DA actually having to sit there and take a step back and do the job properly and say, listen, he did what he had to do to survive that evening. He was put in a bad situation already. And by who? Who put him in that bad situation? And it really seems that there was a lot of kids put out there on the streets that night. We're seeing similar things like this in Canada. There is current protests going on because I am in Alberta. I hear a lot of the local news and I see a lot of things going on locally with protests and with oil being trying to make it to market out of Alberta. And then there's paid actors that get placed in these situations, and they're being placed there because they're under the age of 18. And because they're under the age of 18, even if the courts find them wrongdoing, the courts is generally going to be more lenient on them. Right? So honestly, I have seen people sitting there spouting that this kid is absolute evil incarnate, that the judge needs to throw the book at him, that they want to see him hung. They want to see him have the worst scenario end up to this kid. And he already lived through that. He is living through a nightmare right now. He has lived through the nightmare since that night on the streets. And he's going to live with that for the rest of his life. Is this going to make him stronger? It's probably going to create a spot where he's going to have a chink out of his armor for the rest of his life, and he's going to live with that. This case that he's had to deal with is going to go down in history, and there's going to be law people talking about this case, saying this is why it failed, this is why it succeeded, this is a historic moment in history, and that's why I have chosen to speak about this today. The history of this particular case is going to go down very interesting. Either way that this goes down, I don't know how it's going to land. I don't know where the jury is going to be out on this, even if it goes to a jury at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a motion to dismiss. I wouldn't be surprised if this case just goes sideways and they end it. Right? To me, the case doesn't look like it should have went there. It should have been a misdemeanor. But at the same time, every single other person that was out there on that night are not being charged or given this amount of level against them. The way that this case has gone and the way the media is spinning it is absolutely enormous. Like it's ridiculous. Me having to sit here and even talk about it right now and say the way that they're covering it is absolutely insane. They don't want to call what people actually were, which was arsonists and people that touched kids in the wrong way, and it's just deplorables is what comes down to it. And when I have to sit here in Canada, sitting here watching this case unfold, yes, there's moments in this case that have become absolutely legendary tier memes. To me, this is a very sad moment for humanity when a case has to go down like this, and you see this kid up on the stand, pretty much losing his composure because he's having to relive one of the most traumatic experiences of his current life. For me, I've gone through a lot, and I know where that kid is, where he's been with that sort of PTSD and that traumatic experience. When you break down at that point, you do not have control over it. You don't do anything. You can't control any of it, and it just becomes an overwhelming feeling over top of you, and that is gut-wrenching and heartbreaking to see him have to put himself through it. It's not It's not what I ever expected to see out of this trial. It's not a trial that I thought would have to even come to this. I saw a lot of the footage of prior to this with Twitter, with the way things are, with online. YouTube has a lot of it out there. And you just sit there and you shake your head and you go, what are people allowed and not allowed to do anymore? They have to take the law into their own hands because the police have had their hands tied. Completely tied. They can't go out there and do the job properly because people believe that they're in the right. And that said, was this kid in the right to have to be put in the place that he was put? I gotta say, were the other people that were chasing him down, what gave them the right to sit there and chase this kid down just because he put out their arson fire on a bin? He pulled the bin out. Then they chased him down because they caught him alone. I've been in that situation. I've been jumped walking down my street. I've had people jump and buffet my ears. I've literally had someone point something at my back because they didn't like the person I was with, and I had no clue about what was going on there. I've had situations where I'm not in like full life-threatening situations like that, but I gotta say, if someone's in a life-threatening situation like they are right in that sense with that street, I don't know if there would be any other recourse. If you had the means there to protect yourself, I think I would do it. I think I would have to sit there and take the next level and protect myself. Would I ever be in that situation? Probably not. Is this a situation I could see in today's day and age, especially with the way the States is right now, with the way I see many people having to defend themselves just because either police sources are underfunded or they can't do their job properly because their hands have been tied by the state or by a situation that's going on there. It's absolutely ridiculous to me to know that these kids are being placed in these situations that they never should be placed in the first place. Anyway, guys, it's been difficult to try and not hit all the keynotes that I know YouTube is just going to hit with this video. If you haven't been living under a rock, you know what I'm talking about. You know where we're talking about. You know the trial that is taking place. It was trending all over Twitter, all over social media, all day, and it's really hard to avoid something like that and not talk about it, right? So here's my little piece. If you guys want to talk about this case, keep it down in the comments, and I just ask that you keep it civil. If people want, I don't care which side of the coin that you fall on this one. There is both sides here, and I can see one side over the other right now. I believe he will most likely end up with a mistrial at this point, mainly because of the way the prosecution treated him and how the prosecution has failed on a lot of the witnesses coming to the stands and really justifying the way things are going with this kid. And other than that, I see things with the media that just doesn't seem to tell anything of what's actually going on. So, I got to implore you, if you're going to be talking about this stuff, go out and look at what's going on. Check out some of the points with the case, because I got to tell you, this case has been riveting. It's better than TV, and I'm glued to it because it's something that's real, that's going on right now, and it's going to set a precedent, and it's going to be a historic moment very soon. Anyway, guys, I am Cindershadow. Let me know down below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hey, I will catch you guys all next time with a little bit more Minecraft. Maybe next time I can do a build instead of just gathering resources like I have here. We got 33 seconds to go. If you guys do have any more questions, place them down in the chat. If, I don't care where you land on this either way. Let me know your comments down below, and maybe we can have a civilized conversation about what is going on here in the States and beyond. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to have yourselves a great day, and I will catch you all next time.